Hello, everyone, and welcome to D&D News. I'm Greg Tito, and I am back. We have returned from hell. We were in the nine hells, or at least one layer of the nine hells, Avernus. And it was almost as hot as this coffee is, almost. Oh, and we've got like little sparkles coming up on my name. I like that. It sparkles. We'll go with it being sparkly and fun instead of it being burning and hell-like with screaming and anger things happening. How is everybody doing? I hope you're not trying to get to the bottom of this puzzle box here. This is a difficult one. I don't know quite how to get inside of it. This is like the worst Rubik's Cube ever for those who are trying to do it. Yeah. I don't know if you saw this. This was on stage at D&D Live 2019. We had this made by Kagan Sound. He is a fantastic puzzle maker. And this box is, I don't know. It's beyond my skills for sure. I think I was told that a skilled puzzle solver can solve this in about 30 minutes. I wanted to give it up to you guys. We had thought to have this available for the fans to be able to try and open at D&D Live, but we ran out of space and honestly time to try and figure it out. So it ended up just being on stage as part of it that was going on. I am glad it is here. So, next time you guys come and visit the D&D offices, feel free to try your hand at trying to open up this devilish little box. There's something actually really exciting in there. So you'd have to look at it and try and figure it out. This was another piece of loot that was given away at D&D Live 2019. This is a soul coin. This is what your soul is worth. It's a very thick piece of metal. We just splurged and put the symbol of ball on the back there here too. But when your soul is traded in hell, this is what it looks like. It's quite big. It's actually kind of, you can kind of see a little bit more of the size there. It's heavy. As Jim Zub said, this was his contribution to the brainstorming around Avernus, and he's like, there should be some weight to it. There should be some heft, so that when you're carrying around your soul, whether or not you make some poor decisions, it might get heavier and harder to leave Avernus, which is pretty exciting. How's everybody doing? I haven't been able to interact with all y'all for quite some time. I am excited to be back. I got a lot of fun stuff to go over. A few D&D Rewind videos to show. Yeah, that's right. We got 2 of those because the amazing Steve Sprinkles made one recapping a lot of the funnest things from D&D Live 2019, The Descent. Although I will warn you, and I will mention this as right before I play the video too, Mr. Sprinkles did the thing that many people did while leading up to The Descent and forgot that there was an S in that word descent. So the video that he created is pretty decent. It's pretty decent. It's a pretty decent video, I do have to say. There's a lot of decentness in the video. So you'll have to forgive us for that. But it made me laugh a couple of times. I just watched it about 15 minutes ago, and I was like, "Ooh, we don't have time to change that." It's decent. Good to see you all here. I see a few names in here. I saw Mr. Flash Fletch 33 doing better. My voice has returned, so that's good. Fuzzbox, it's good to see you again as well. And very excited to see all of there's Obo Crazy saying Mr. Sprinkles is awesome. I didn't realize he was even at the Descent. I missed him. That's how crazy busy I was. For those of you who are unaware, I'm talking about the D&D event. D&D Live 2019 The Descent happened, not last weekend, but the weekend before, which is crazy to think about. That much time has already passed, but it has. It's already been more than a week since we were all in Los Angeles celebrating all of the community of Dungeons and Dragons. And thank you everyone who is subbing and getting in here. We will have no dice camera action today, none at 4 p.m. Pacific time, so I want to make sure, usually this is the show where I get everybody excited about the next episode of Dice Camera Action. That will not be occurring today, and as we said on Twitter just a little while ago, it's on a bit of a hiatus. There are many reasons why. I'm sure most of you know what they are, but we're taking a break from Dice Camera Action, and rather than rush into saying anything specific, we will just say that we're working on a way to return to a weekly show with Mr. Chris Perkins at the helm. We're already brainstorming tons of amazing things with many of the characters that you know and love from that show. So we'll be saying more news about that. I won't say it's going to come soon. I actually had written the word soon, and some people were like, "Does that mean next week?" And I'm like, "No." It's like Blizzard soon. It's like, it'll happen in the future. So in the next few months, you'll get a update from us, mostly on D&D news or not, and then we will continue with something fun. I'm sure it will be satisfying to all of you out there. So no Dice Camera Action today. I'll repeat that a couple of times throughout this episode so people are aware. We're not sure exactly what we're going to do in the meantime, but we're bandying about the idea of doing some one-shots, some D&D one-shots, maybe some board gaming with folks in the office here in the 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. slot on Tuesdays. So stick around. I will most likely still be doing D&D news on a weekly basis. If we do go forward with doing a one-shot kind of series, that will be the lead-in still. I'll still do D&D news leading into that, and it'll give you hopefully a chance to check out some different folks in the D&D team playing together, interacting. It should be tons of fun. So that will be, we'll have a summer break, and it'll be a little bit of a vacation for everyone. So I did want to go over some of the fun stuff that we talked about at D&D Live, The Descent. Some really grazing stuff. Crazing. That was me saying great and crazy at the same time. Grazing. Baldur's Gate, Descent into Avernus is the new adventure that will be coming in September 17th to be exact. It is a book that will take you from level 1 up to level 13. And it is a campaign in the style of Waterdeep Dragon Heist or what was I going to say? Oh, like Curse of Strahd, and then it's like a continuous storyline, but you can take, like Waterdeep Dragon Heist, you can take parts out of it and use it gazetteer style. One of those is the city of Baldur's Gate. You get to see what's happening in that city. We haven't really visited that since Murder in Baldur's Gate, which was in between the end of 4th edition and 5th edition, so it's nice to kind of check in and see what's happening with that city. Many people know that location because it is the location of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, the seminal video games from, I was going to say Beamdog. Beamdog has done the enhanced edition of those, but they're from BioWare back in the day, 98, 99. Old, amazing, wonderful games, kind of transcended the future of RPGs, and for many folks, it was the return to D&D, including our president, Chris Cox, said that he got back into the Dungeons and Dragons and fantasy lore with that game. So I think a lot of people are like that too, and that's the setting or one of the settings for Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus. The second, the next part of this is in the first layer of the Nine Hells. We don't necessarily go deeper into the Nine Hells, but on Avernus, that's where the front lines of the Blood War is currently raging. The Blood War is, of course, the eternal conflict between devils and demons. The evil forces in the evil plane of order, which are the devils, and the forces of chaos, which are the demons, are locked in this eternal struggle between those who want to destroy all reality, which is the chaotic folks, and the devils who want to just control reality. So it's very, very evocative, not of this plane, not of the material plane. So it will be very interesting to see what dungeon masters and storytellers do in Avernus once the player characters reach it in the Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus story. So that is coming out in... Oh, I guess technically they were Black Isle games. You're right. From the Dark Alliance and all those things. Anyway... what do I want to say? Oh, yeah. So September 17th is when that adventure releases everywhere. You'll be able to get it everywhere on September 17th. There are 2 versions of the book though. However, I do want to let you know. One is, and let me show you. Oh, I have some video. I have some things of what it looks like. Can I see it? Here we go. Bam! What? The Descent into Avernus standard cover will have that painting of, I don't know, who is that? I think that's Zariel. And that painting was done by Tyler Jacobson, an amazing artist. He has done many of the covers of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition products, as well as many pickups through in it. So get ready to get that cover whenever you can and wherever you can. And then the alternate cover for this adventure, and I believe this is the first time an adventure has had an alternate cover, but we're excited about it because it is a return to form for Hydro 74. I love the cover of this image, or the image of this cover. It's fantastic. We loved it so much that we ended up putting it on t-shirts. What? Check it, choo. That's the Soul Coin train. Runs on Soul Coins, that train. I love this t-shirt. I love that cover. You'll be able to get that only in game stores very soon. You should pre-order if you want it because they will go fast, I have a feeling. So yes, all those things are available on September 17th. There's also, and these are pretty things, check this out. There is also going to be a Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus Dice and Miscellany pack. What? Check that out. This pack is gorgeous. You might have seen Chris Perkins, Nathan Stewart, and Liz Shue open this up on the live stream of the D&D Live show. There's so much in here, not just dice. You also get all these like little encounter cards. You will also get in a nice cardboard box a felt. It's like a felted box that you can use as a dice tray. What? Dice tray for you. It is crazy. It's amazing. Wait. Yes. Let me make sure we know exactly how much this is before I say it out loud. Do we not put this in here? For the love of all that's holy. All right, well, I'll get more information on that. It's not as much as crazy as you think it is. It is got tons of stuff. 20 double-sided cards in there, as well as a bunch of exclusive content for Strange Encounters and trinkets one finds in Avernus, and a map. If you saw, you can actually see it there. That map was used in the D&D Epic when the what are those called? Infernal War Machines were riding along. They were on that map, and that's pretty cool for you and your players to be able to get a thing of it. Those will be coming out at the same time as the adventure, September 17th. Check it out when you can. There's also this amazing thing, the D&D Essentials Kit. We talked about this during D&D Live. Very cool looking piece of kit, literally. This one was designed for use for players. This is how to get new players into the game. We think the first original starter set for 5th edition was pretty good. It worked really well at getting Dungeon Masters up to speed in how to run Lost Mines of Phandelver. This Essentials Kit takes it over. Not that it takes it over, but guides people through making their first player. It also has a whole bunch of cards that are used for helping folks who are trying to figure out how combat works. There's references for all that. There's monsters and sidekicks and spells that you can use as punch-out cards in there. You get a ruby red dice set and a little DM screen as well as some maps. So this is going to be available everywhere in Target stores in North America on June 24th. And then you'll be able to get this everywhere else on September 3rd. But we're really aiming on this being the product that gets people into Dungeons & Dragons, making their first character, showing up at a place for that to make it happen. So, good stuff there. Another kit. We also talked about a little thing called this. Speaking of starter sets, the Dungeons & Dragons versus Rick and Morty tabletop role-playing game adventure. This is coming out November 19th. Wow, I didn't realize we had a date for this. November 19th is the date. It's not really a starter set. It's more of a set for fans to be able to jump into playing Dungeons & Dragons, very much themed by Rick and Morty. Kate Welch is working super hard on this. Jim Zub is working on this. He did the Rick and Morty comics volume 1. And by the way, he's also doing this. Rick and Morty versus Dungeons & Dragons, Chapter 2, The Painscape. So that is being worked on as we speak by Jim Zub. Troy Little is doing the artwork. There's also going to be a colorist, as you can see by the text there down on the bottom, as well as Crank. I'm not sure what Crank or who Crank is, but they're working on this book, and they're working hard. It's going to be good. I can't wait. That is exciting stuff. And then finally, I wanted to show you, also by Jim Zub, this book. It is a comic book, Infernal Tides. It continues the story of Minsk and Boo and his Legends of Baldur's Gate friends going through, making things happen in, this is basically like the storyline of Descent into Avernus, but told through the lens of these characters, and I can't wait for it. They are in their home city of Baldur's Gate once again, and there might be some devilish things happening there. I see lots of devils, lots of explosions on that cover. That's pretty cool. Can't wait for that. I want to show you this too. Here's some minis. Of course, WizKids is making some minis. They've got some amazing figures. I really loved the Dungeon of the Mad Mage set that has come through. They're looking badass. And then we also mentioned this, or I should say Shelly, speaking of Minsk and Boo, Shelly Mazanoble, my cohort on the Dragon Talk podcast. There's an expansion for Dungeon Mayhem, the amazingly fun and easy to learn card game that it had 4 characters that shipped with the original Dungeon Mayhem last fall. Now you'll get 2 extra characters, and that's who they are. They're Jaheira and Minsk and Boo as a combo. And of course, there's the card Go for the Eyes, Boo, in there, which is going to make it all worthwhile. I like it. So while we're all talking about Minsk and Boo and everything that happened at the Descent, I think it's probably a good idea to show you a little thing I like to say is D&D Rewind. And again, I forgot we got 2 of these, so I'm going to show the first one of them to you now. This is the one that tracks all of the fun stuff that happened in the Descent. It's a pretty decent video. I'm going to have to say the decentness of this video really comes through. Check it out here, and I will be back to tell you even more stuff and then set up another D&D Rewind, if you can believe it.
Cave mouth shines through pure force of will. I look down on the world.
One question before we fulfill the deed. There is a black tower somewhere in Avernus, somewhere near the 5-headed dragon goddess's well. Where is this tower?
You mean Hawkins Tower?
Looking for the reason I still stand. Do I fit into your plan? Hey, dungeon lady, won't you let me in to your heart?
is about flexing on them.
Hey, Jerry, how about you roll the check I asked you for?
Yeah, Kate.
The tree traveling thing actually worked. All right.
Well, what happened after the treat? There was a party that you went to, that
You had to steal something.
I had you steal something.
He had to steal something.
Oh my God, we did.
Wow.
You're a thief.
No, technically you're the thieves.
You broke the law.
All right, well then you're like a
No,
mob
technically you
boss.
broke the laws.
This is all very lovely, but we very quickly need to get out of here.
Find a ring that's what you fight. With a wizard I get my name Gandalf. Yeah, we're walking every day. The dragon smog we're gonna slay. Led by a wizard wearing gray. Name Gandalf.
Crit.
All right.
It goes right through him, huh?
What happens? What's he do? Or what does that do?
3D12.
It's not a steal. You make it night. I'm not somebody who's seen the light. It's a code. It's a broken hallelujah.
And I'm playing Minsk. And I'm here with my faithful hamster. Boo! Boo! Miniature giant space hamster. I will roll it.
Great stuff, right? I mean, with all the talk of Minsk and Boo, I feel like I had to play that so that you could get the full-on idea of what was happening there with with Jim Zub as playing Minsk. He really committed to shaving his head and having the purple makeup put on there. That was no bald cap, people. That was his real shaved head, which I respect 1,000,000%. Gotta commit to the bit, as I think he said on the Twitters. I loved it. And then, of course, Matthew Mercer as none other than Boo, the giant miniature space hamster, was amazing. It was really just great. As soon as we had that weird idea in a room with me, Perkins, Kate Welch, and Jeremy, we're like, what if Matt plays Boo? And we're like, all laughed, and we're like, oh, he'll never go for that. And then I posed it to Matt, and he's like, yeah, sure, I'm down. I love this. And I love that everybody went full into making that be a really fun storyline. Some of my favorite moments. I think I got it a little bit ahead of time when I don't know if I'm not spoiling anything, but Minsk is like, I don't have any range weapons. I have no range weapons. And I was like, I know what they're gonna do. They're gonna range weapon this up with Boo, going for the eyes. It was fantastic. I'm so glad everyone got to enjoy it. It was a real joy to put the event together. I can't wait to do it again next year with more craziness and hilarity ensuing. I'm going to say 90% of the videos of what occurred at D&D Live 2019, The Descent, are all up on our YouTube page. You can find them on our Twitch page as well as all the other places we stream to, but YouTube is generally the best for our archive of all of the videos that occurred. Apologies, it took a long time to get those exactly sorted with correct sound and correct labeling and everything going on in there. So bear with us, but I think for the most part, the videos are now all up on YouTube, so you can watch the concert. The full concert is there, as well as all the individual main stage games, all the individual games in all the studios, many of the panels, the interviews that I did with Shelly, with many of the D&D partners who were there, were fantastic. So check out all that stuff. It'll be there for years and years to come. So don't worry about missing out too much, although Nothing beats being there and seeing it happen in person. And I get a kick out of how many people just embrace the D&D community for the loving and supportive community that it is. Those of you here are in the chat are a big part of that, but it was even more gratifying to see it in person with all the fans who were able to come to LA and be a part of that event, and we're hoping to open that up to more and more people in the future. There's a lot of plans, a lot of best laid plans of mice and men coming soon for all the events next year, and we'll see. It was really nice. I will be doing. I know I've been promising this for a while. A massive tweet thread that will thank all the people who were there and contributed to making the event as amazing as it was. It's a huge undertaking, but there are going to be a lot of pictures, a lot of all those things in there, and I want to make sure I give credit where credit is due. For an event like this, you don't really have like a credits page where people get notifications for what they did or how they contributed to making this event awesome. So I'm hoping that Twitter thread will serve as that and allow folks to kind of give their kudos where kudos is due. Honestly, this thank you thread has ballooned into being a task almost as Herculean as putting on the event itself. But I should be out probably this week and look for that. And I will be pinging that again on D&D News and other places going forward. But it was a huge undertaking, and it was really thanks to everyone in the D&D community, including our partners, including Varvid doing the video streaming. They did a whole bunch of things dealing with adversity, from internet issues to a power outage to just overall, things getting messed up through no fault of their own, but they definitely powered through and made it as well as it could be with under the circumstances. So shout out to them. I also want to give a shout out to Sunweaver Creative. They did a fantastic job hiring and corralling all of the cosplayers who were there. So many of the pictures you saw were folks, fans, people coming to the event in cosplay, but also some of them were, folks who do that type of thing in the LA area, some as professional performers, some as something they just do for fun. Many of them were returning faces from the Stream of Many Eyes the previous year, which was great to see. Some of them even had similar costumes or the same costume, which I was like, oh my God, I remember that. That's so great. So that was really great to see this continuity of things going forward, but I couldn't do it without Sean Strider and Jackie Adorni from Sunweaver Creative. They did a fantastic job with that. They do an event called the Labyrinth Masquerade in LA, and if you're going to be in town, I would definitely check that out this summer if you can. It was inspiration for what they did for this. I'd also like to thank Triple Clicks, the agency. Jen Erb in particular does a fantastic job making sure that event goes off without a hitch. Everything from the logistics of getting the food trucks in, to getting the lighting companies together, to working with the set companies on how to load in and load out, ticketing, logistics of flow of people here and there. That is all done by Triple Clicks, and they did a fantastic job for this event. So thank you to Jen Erb and her crew for that. And then, of course, everybody on the D&D team. Pelham Green did a fantastic job up and down all over town, doing everything that needed to get done. I'm not going to go through and list everybody on the D&D team, but I definitely want to shout out Pelham, as well as Bart Carroll, working on getting the kind of graphics packages and everything looking as awesome as it did throughout the event. Emi Tanji is a fantastic graphic designer. I don't know if you guys know, we've had her on the podcast a few times, but basically everything that Dungeons and Dragons touches goes through her. She created many of the pieces of swag, many of the graphics that you saw. Almost all of the D&D books that you see are all designed by her. She was clicking and working almost as much as I was, probably more than I was, leading up to this event, making sure all of her graphical needs were done, and they looked fantastic. She has the ability to just do things and make it look like gold. Trish Yoakum on the D&D team also did a fantastic job with many of the pieces of swag that were handed out, it was a group effort. Everybody did a fantastic job, and I can't wait to do it again next year with a completely new and different theme, and I can't wait for all that. So, not putting the D&D Live fully to bed. There's definitely a lot more we can talk about as we get through this summer, talking about Descent into Avernus. But I'm really excited about all the work, and I can't wait to do more going forward. So I want to go, speaking of going forward, and show you the next D&D Rewind we have for the streaming shows from the last week. So I'll play this, and then I'll let you know how you can nominate more folks to getting involved with it. Those of you who are just coming in and are looking for the lead up to Dice Camera Action, let me just quickly say DCA is on hiatus. We'll be coming out with news of what's to come from Chris Perkins in the next few months. But no DCA episode today or for the foreseeable future. Dungeons & Dragons will announce the what will be coming in this time slot going forward. But if you're waiting for DCA, not going to happen today, sadly. All right, so here's on to what did happen over the course of what was played on twitch.tv/D&D over the last week. Here is D&D Rewind number 2. Will it be decent?
Let me help you with your task.
he like leans over like I'm listening.
Lean in. Very close. Very close.
Oh, I love secrets.
Very close.
Yeah.
Now we're having a nice private conversation here. You know,
he looks around like,
half elf, very attractive. You know, I like to think of myself. And she's like, and now I'm going to turn you away, and you can go to them for sympathy.
he nods and he says, yes, a bit of theatrics.
And as soon as he says yes, I slap him across the face. Just like hard as I can.
Okay.
Bass had a bunch of dragons playing beer pong. That idea was rightfully vetoed, but that was supposed to be for like the tier 4. And everyone was like, okay, I think they need something a little bit more challenging. And I was like, who doesn't want to play beer pong with dragons? So yeah, but it was a fun idea. Didn't quite fit into the playtest. So feel free to take that idea and do with it what you will.
The assassin I used to work for. When I was a part of this group and I was like cutting up bodies, I got sick of it. And all the murder we were always doing, I couldn't sleep anymore because of all the awful things they kept making me do. And I stole his knife. I stole his knife and he found me. He found me in prison. He busted me out. He's gonna kill everyone.
I'm gonna hold Harold.
He's gonna kill all of you.
I take it I'm learning all this for the first time.
But not if we get the stone golor first. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get him that stone. So he'll leave you alone.
Flo has gotten a taste for battle. So
Battle Flow. Yes.
Battle Flow.
Yes. Now we need action figures with like Flo with Kung Fu grip.
Flo with
Kung Fu
optional
tentacle.
armor set.
Flow with battle stench.
Oh god, battle stench is
no.
an unfortunate side effect of her kind.
Did I not? Oh, it's not on easy mode. I'm back here just like, whatever. One shot. Nope, I don't even know. The game is too hard for me to even successfully set it to easy mode. Okay, now it's on easy. However, everyone is dead. So that's not the best.
Where lay you down, where I usually use them when I have to amputate or something like that. But in this case, it might keep him from rolling off the table, and then I hold on to that.
Then you hold on to that, absolutely.
And still try to find out what's wrong with him.
Aha, give me a medicine check very quickly, Lahuna.
Can I utilize my divine sense?
Yes, you can.
I don't have regular sense, but I do have divine sense.
He is currently dying from death.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
That's
Wow, great stuff. Loved the it's always nice to have like a few comedic things in there, but the actor, and I'm forgetting his name now. I just read it and then I It was like, oh, I got to remember his name. But in D4, did such a fantastic job of convincing us that he was really distraught. It did a really good job, and it's always nice to have with D&D Rewinds the spectrum of things that are funny and easy, played up for laughs, with these amazing storytelling moments of good performances. So kudos to everybody in this week's D&D Rewind ×2. Thank you again to Steve Sprinkles for making both of those. If you would like to get a clip of something that is played here on the D&D Twitch channel in the next D&D Rewind, the best way to do that is to clip it yourself in the Twitch. Do a little thing like that. Tweet it out to as many of your followers as you can. Make sure to tag some of the creators in there. Maybe they will give it a retweet and let more people get to see it. Those then just kind of bubble up to the top of the list of clips for the week, and we like to show them off and make them. We still curate a little bit. We pick and choose some of the best, performances of that list. But that is a good way to get more people making things happen. And thank goodness, ChrisCon won. I was not in any of those. It always feels weird to throw it to myself. So I'm glad. We're making it happen. Not even out of spite was I there. Yeah, for sure. So we're moving on to some fun Adventurers League news. One of the coolest parts of D&D Live 2019 The Descent was the fact that the Adventurers League was there in force, running a D&D epic. We had 3 sessions of them running, 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. They were some of my favorite moments and pictures of the show were from the D&D epic. I loved it. I loved that there were 20 tables of people playing Dungeons and Dragons, all under the same goals. We had it was on the same sets that the main stage shows were taking place. We had lights, we had sound. Everything was reacting using Sirenscape for the soundtrack. Ben Looms did a fantastic job doing that live. How great was the costume for Bell, the blacksmith kind of devil who was in the center of the area during the D&D epic? That was, of course, by Gil Ramirez. A blacksmith in his own right. He was the blacksmith there for the Stream of Many Eyes. He makes a lot of wonderful things from metal, including D&D accessories. So it was really great to see his portrayal. He got really into it, even though he was wearing heels. He was definitely complaining about his calves after a while, but it was great, and I loved his performance. Many of the cosplayers just went above and beyond. I will be thanking all of those in my massive Twitter thread that I keep alluding to. But I'm talking about Adventurers League. So the D&D Epic was a huge success. I want to do more and more stuff like that at D&D events going forward, integrating it more with what's going on. But if you're unfamiliar with what D&D Adventurers League is, it is a D&D official play campaign, which means you can create an AL character and take it to your friendly local game store, convention, on the top of the Washington Monument, in Spider-Man movies, or underneath the sea if you're in Aquaman, and you can play anything, anywhere. Adventurers League is played as kind of a way to standardize what is happening, and there are many adventures that have been released since the dawn of 5th edition that are bite-sized, shorter, little, what we used to call modules back in the 80s. There are tons of them. They are fantastic. And the one I want to tell you about right now is called Returned to the Ghost Tower of Inverness. It is now available on the Dungeon Masters Guild. This is a competitive D&D epic, and it was written by the amazing puzzle master Elisa Teague. She did a lot of the ARG puzzle leading up to the Stream of Many Eyes. She also wrote the puzzles for the off-the-table stuff at the Stream of Many Eyes, and she was at D&D Live as a Medusa, having her little mirror and conversing with those who were in attendance using that. She wrote this, and it was only previously exclusive to GaryCon, but now anyone can play this competitive epic. The tables that play all at the same time use pre-gens of characters that were in the original Ghost Tower of Inverness, and I'm going to tell you all about the story of this with a dramatic reading. Are you ready? This is a familiar scene. Shackled, bound. The same faces surround you as the last time you were in this dark, dank cell. Your friends, your party members, you've been told that your actions have led to death and destruction near and far. But but you were only doing what was demanded of you from those who hold you captive again now. A looming figure goes over your crimes and holds out a glowing gemstone, offering a trade for your lives. You must undo what you have done and put this back, he whispers. You must return to the ghost tower. You must return. No, it's a gem. It's not a soul coin. Darn it. If only I had the correct prop, that would have been perfect. So you can play that adventure and download it from the Dungeon Masters Guild at the link that DC just put in there. Make it so. Yes. And I'm going to show off some amazing pictures from people playing Adventurers League at D&D Live: The Descent. So here are some. Wait, no, that's the thing I was just talking about. Return to the Ghost Tower of Inverness, designed by Lisa Teague. Check it out. Here are some more amazing pictures of all of the fun that was happening at D&D Live. Now, the epic that I just told you about is not, the same epic that's being shown here, but it has the same idea where there is lots of people playing together. There's Gil in his bell costume to the left there, all playing together, all operating independently, but then also together in some larger scheme that affects everyone else around there. Good stuff. Now, if you want to send photos from your Adventurers League group, you can send them to community@dndadventurersleague.org, and I will show them here on D&D News. It's a great way to just kind of focus on different areas of the world playing Dungeons & Dragons in an Adventurers League setting. It's pretty cool. Just give a little note as to what your location is, whether it's at a friendly local game store, what state or country in, or whatever information you feel safe sharing, and we will read it aloud here on D&D News. And let me get to some fun stuff happening on the Dungeon Masters Guild. So that is kind of a sister group to the Adventurers League. All of the adventures that I talked about that are alive through Adventurers League can be found on the Dungeon Masters Guild, in addition to letting you publish your own 5th edition creations for fun and profit. It's the only platform where you can publish adventures and supplements set within the Forgotten Realms, Ravenloft, Ravnica, and other wizard settings, using the heroes, using characters. You can only do that on Dungeon Masters Guild. There's lots of really neat stuff up there. Shout out to all the Dungeon Masters folks who were at D&D Live. But DM's Guild creators have flooded Dungeon Masters Guild with high seas supplements. Dun, dun, dun. Here's one. Blood, Salt, and Bones is a collaboration between a number of community creators. Who says the open sea has to be a cold and lonely place? Fill out the vast blue in your world with this collection of 24 ships and their unique crews. Adventure is sure to follow in these ships' wakes. Wow. It includes a hand-drawn map for each ship, 24 fully detailed ships with character profiles and suggestions on how to introduce them into your game, a Ghost of Saltmarsh compatible stat block for each entry, 25 story seeds, each detailing a unique captain and their motives, and a collection of sailing equipment used by experienced shoulders. Dang, this is the exact kind of thing that I love about the Dungeon Masters Guild. Of course, it is all being released in time for... Wait, oh, there it is. Dun dun dun! Ghost of Saltmarsh, which is now out everywhere. You can pick up this book and join in an adventure on the high seas right now. You should do it. It's Scottish, just like Chris Lindsay. So yeah, it's fantastic. I can't wait to see more people jumping out and talking about the sailing the 7 seas or the 13 seas, or the 97 seas, no matter how many you can possibly sail using this book. It is a wonderful campaign that you can play through 1 to 12, or you can just pick apart and use parts of it in your campaign that just happen to be set near the sea. A good one is Salvage Operation for that. It's easy to just pick up and play. I ran it for a bunch of people like Gary Con last year with... I'm not going to say little prep, but no prep. And it worked really well. So it's an easy way to just use parts of it and jump into it whenever you can. That's exciting. And I love the fact that the Dungeon Masters Guild is doing these type of things and jumping into all of the fun stuff to, keep in line with what the Dungeons & Dragons team is releasing, and then just creating more ancillary content around it. It's pretty fantastic. All right. I have some other fun things I can show you. For those of you who are just tuning in, there is no dice camera action today. DCA is on hiatus. We'll be coming up with other news about what is going to be happening with the show as led by Chris Perkins in the coming months. We don't have any news to share right now, but we want to make sure everyone who is tuning in, there's not going to be any dice camera action today. We will be having D&D news happening most likely in this hour slot, and then we will potentially have a series of one-shots or maybe some board game play and maybe a grab bag of stuff that will happen in the future on these 4 to 6 slots on Tuesdays before we come up with a plan for how we're going to go forward. There's a lot of things, a lot of irons in the fire. Let me just say that. Speaking of irons in the fire, green fire and flame. That's the best segue I got right now. This is the actual book of Acquisitions Incorporated. This might have been the actual copy that was at D&D Live in the Penny Arcade booth, or the Acking booth, as the case may be. This is a fantastic tome that has got tons of artwork for folks that are familiar with the Ack Inc. games. I love it. Everyone else loves it. It's fun stuff. I'm previewing all types of pages here. Lots of green flame happening in the chat. Green flame! I haven't really spoiled that much, but I feel like I need to. Here's a Warlock's Otherworldly Office. Dun, dun, dun. Yes, this book comes out on June... No, I'm going to get it wrong. 21st, I think, but now I think it's actually the 18th. Someone tell me? 18th. I was right. June 18th. / wrong. I mean, if you say 2 dates and one of them's right, that means you were right. There is awesome, NPC stat blocks of characters you know and love from Acquisitions Incorporated, the C Team, from the main cast. Here's Omen Drawn. Here's Jim Dark Magic. They're all statted up as NPCs and monsters, so you can encounter them. You can quickly run them. It's very easy. And this fantastic tome is really all you need to jump in, start your own Acquisitions Incorporated franchise. And then there is a short campaign, about a 6 levels worth of campaign that was written by many fantastical people, including Jerry Holkins had a big part in this. Teo Sabadia had a really, really great time jumping in and writing a whole bunch of stuff for this, as well as, never mind. I was going to say some folks here in the chat did, but I think they were working on other products, so I don't want to spoil that just yet. Perhaps later I will. But fantastic people worked on it, and it is a wonderful thing, and I can't wait for folks to check it out soon. I'm going to spend the last 5 minutes going through the D&D Essentials kit. It is essential. I like that it's got, things happening on the side here. Not all of the boxes that you get out there advertise on the box, but ours do. This is the inside box, buddy. We still got it. So here's some of the cards that we talked about briefly. That comes in a little box that you kind of assemble it yourself when you get it. But there are lots of these cards. They're perforated, so they're not necessarily they come in sheets. But here is a sidekick that you can recruit into your party. Inferna Nightbreeze, Moon Elf Warrior. Here, you can't actually read that. There are a bunch of these, and the reason why they're added in here is, I like this one, Ruby Hammerwhacker. I like that. That's good stuff. I like this guy too. Galandro Luna. He is a human expert. So these sidekicks, and you might have seen these in the Unearthed Arcana a little while ago. They are a way for D&D players to have a session that's between one dungeon master and one player. There are rules for that included in the new rule book that was written for the D&D Essentials kit. And then part of how you can round out your party is by using these sidekicks. So if you have a combat heavy party, you might get an expert or a spellcaster, or if you have a spellcaster, you might want to get a defender as a sidekick to make it happen. Ooh, I like this guy. This was clearly Pickled Pete. I like these. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say these were all created by... Oh, now I don't want to say. I might get it wrong, but it's either Sean Wood or Richard Witters did these portraits, and they look fantastic. I love them. I think they actually might be Richard Witters' work, but we'll see. I'll make sure he talks about it more. But then there's these little cards that tell you how to do combat step by step. There's quest cards, quests. I won't spoil those in case somebody's played through these. If you get a magic item, you can just get it delivered to you. Here, there's a potion of healing. You'll know exactly what it does through that. So it's a way to just kind of streamline and make the first couple of sessions of Dungeons & Dragons really easy to play. There's, ones in here for conditions and things like that. You get this awesome pack of polyhedral dice. It's made in China. It's number 5507C. It's very important. That means something. Those of you who are playing the ARG at home can start using that code. Just kidding. It doesn't really... there's no ARG. I'm just kidding. Here is the adventure. This was written mostly by Mr. Chris Perkins, if I'm not mistaken. It is in the same kind of vein as... I know, sorry, everyone's saying that I'm starting rumors about ARGs happening. It is set in the same kind of area as The Lost Man's of Phandelver. So you can use it as an extension or as a prelude or as a sequel to it. Very cool, fun stuff happening within the adventure. You will also get this Essentials Kit rulebook. And again, this was completely redesigned to make it easier for new players to jump in with those walls of text, so that it just makes it much easier. Like, oh, what is a spell? How do spells work? How do you create a character from beginning to end? And it just takes you through that. So I can't wait for this Essentials Kit. I think it's going to be really great for new players getting on board and figuring out how to make their first character and then showing up at their first session with those cards in hand, ready to go. It is a nice way to get people really into it. I will be showing off more of this stuff as we get closer. It's going to be in Target on June 24th, which is a day before my birthday. Which means nothing to any of you or is not relevant to anything, but I just want to make sure I say it and I can always remember. For all that fun stuff, it's June 24th. It'll be available everywhere, including in game stores on September 3rd. So look for the Essentials Kit or tell your friends all about this, especially your grandmas and your mothers and your other things that might be buying gifts in the fall time frame for the holidays. The Essentials Kit is a great way to onboard folks. And if I get players who are saying like, oh, how do I get people more excited about Dungeons & Dragons? What's the first thing that we should get them? In the past I might have said the starter set or just the player's handbook. I'm going to start saying the Essentials Kit when it's out there because I think a lot of people will be able to kind of read and get on board. I see, just making sure everybody knows we're no dice camera action today. It's not going to start in 30 seconds. We are on a bit of a hiatus. There will be news coming out in the coming months about what is going to be happening in this time slot. In the meantime, we might have some fun kind of one-offs and things like that. But as I wound down, I see a lot of people asking about soul coins. So these are the soul coins from D&D Live. People are asking about where you can get these. These were exclusive to the con event. You had to play through the storyline that was created by Sunweaver Creative to earn one of these soul coins. So I don't want to give them out quite yet. They are hefty and they do make a loud sound. But I believe, not this exact version, but a very similar version will be available in the Beetle and Grimm's Platinum Edition for Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus. If you haven't checked out what they are doing for their next Platinum Edition box, you should go to beetleandgrims.com. They have got, all the learnings of doing 2 box sets, I guess, by this point, because the Ghosts of Saltmarsh Sinister Silver Edition will be out soon. So they've got it down to a science. That's where these coins will be happening. Again, this is one soul in hell. This is what it feels like. This is how you trade souls back and forth between agents within the first level of hell. It makes sense that it's a physical hard object, and maybe if you see me at a con or something like that, I might have a few of these in my pocket and I can get them to you that way. Or you can just pick them up at the Beetle and Grimm's. Check them out. All right, I did bite the coin, actually, just to make sure it was still in there. It is good. It's a good coin. Thanks, you guys. You are all fantastic. You can follow me on Twitter at Greg Tito. I've also posted a whole bunch of pictures, both from the D&D Live event and everywhere else on my Instagram, which is at Greg_Tito. I will be back this weekend. This week on Friday, we're doing a new Dragon Talk episode. Me and Shelly will be in here talking to I don't think he's a doctor, Ethan Schoonover, who has been teaching middle schoolers to play Dungeons & Dragons and spreading the good word. And we can't wait to hear about all of that in that interview. He's a fantastic dude, and it's going to be great. And we'll do another fun B segment, as we like to call them, with Jeremy Crawford or Kate Welch from 2 to 3 p.m. Pacific time. So tune in here, twitch.tv/DND, 12 noon on Friday, and we'll do some amazing Dragon Talk stuff. But if you're always looking for more D&D content, here's the place to find it. So check back. We'll be posting the schedule if we haven't already, as well as more fun stuff happening. So thanks, everybody. You're the best. We will see you later. Bye. I'm going to press some buttons until I can actually say bye. Hold on. Bye.